Is everyone just blinded by their love of Fernando Mendoza? Personally, I'm shocked at the depths people will go to convince themselves he's a can't-miss NFL QB. I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. One of the most fascinating developments over the past couple months is America's infatuation with Fernando Mendoza. And it obviously peaked with that fourth down run to get into the end zone to help win a national championship. Heck, I even love everything about him. As a person, he represents all that's right in the world, and yes, we need to protect him at all costs. However, as for football, I'm truly amazed at some of the things I've been hearing.
I think he's one of the top quarterback prospects in the last decade. Is
Really?
he probably like one guy, maybe I would say him and Joe Burrow.
That is former NFL safety TJ Ward. You're actually going to hear a lot more comments like that, which is why I wanted to do this deep dive. I think the entire phenomenon of skewed opinions starts with the halo effect, which is a term in psychology coined in the 1920s that speaks to subconscious thought, specifically a cognitive bias in which the overall impression of a person influences how others feel and think about a person's specific traits. Essentially, because people love Mendoza the person, they view his football traits through rose-colored glasses. It's another way of saying they love the guy, so they're kind of got blinders on to only see positive traits and those that are a little bit more positive than actually exist, especially when he plays QB of a team that wins a national championship.
If you put Mendoza on any Final Four team, it's 100% they win. Like, that team wins it all. There's no doubt. If you put him on any playoff team, I'm probably going to give you any playoff team besides maybe Alabama, and they win it all. When your best players are your best human beings and your best leaders, you can do some special things.
I could not disagree more with David Pollack. Obviously, Mendoza had a fantastic season and deserves a great deal of praise. But saying Cignetti would lose without him is preposterous. Cignetti's track record speaks for itself, well documented. In fact, I feel Zig could have won with several other quarterbacks.
If Mendoza can have a historic turnaround at the collegiate level, he has the DNA to do it at the NFL level. Turning Indiana around is a greater feat than turning the Raiders around.
Sorry, but Mendoza did not turn around Indiana. Cignetti did. Last year, Zig went 11-2 with Curtis Rourke, who came over from the MAC, and their only two losses were to the two teams that played for the national championship. Even began this past season ranked. Make no mistake, this was a 2-year turnaround and program makeover by Curt Cignetti. Former NFL QB Chase Daniel talks in ways people did back with Tim Tebow.
I just love the way he plays, like passion, poise, and heart. Like, you can't measure that, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have a strong enough arm to make all the throws. And I think he's shown that with these back shoulder throws. I think he's more athletic than you think. He's got a stronger arm than you think.
Let's be honest here. Mendoza's worst games were against the toughest defenses, and his 3 NFL-bound wide receivers made him look that much better. Indiana had the second lowest drop rate in the entire country, 2.1%, and we saw it on full display in the championship game with that back shoulder throw on fourth down. Again, I'm not saying he's a bad QB or anything ridiculous like that. I'm just trying to shoot down that he's this unicorn, an amazing can't-miss prospect.
People look at Indiana and they see the logo and they don't think that they're very good. They're playing with a bunch of B's and C talents. But this is a really good football team. And he's never had to put Indiana on his back in terms of carrying the entire team. He has moments where he flashes and make plays or whatever. But in terms of putting the team on his back, he's never done it.
And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I guess there's a first time for everything. I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with Skip Bayless.
He is playing for a freaking machine in Indiana, coached by a coach who is some combination of Newt Rockne and Vince Lombardi, because I've not seen a team.
Oh, no, that's a crazy take.
No, it's not.
No, Indiana.
That's a crazy take.
Okay, here's
So let me get this straight. The same show reacted That way to Cignetti praise, but not TJ Ward's comments about Mendoza being the best quarterback prospect over the past decade. I blame the halo effect. Eventually, the guys who are paid to break down draft prospects and will forever have their names attached to it, they do speak logically.
None of these quarterbacks are of the level of the quarterbacks that we've seen recently have success, whether it's the Caleb's, the Jalen Daniels, the Drake Mays. They are not in that ilk. And so there are going to be some mistakes made because of the desperation to take a quarterback. And I'm telling you, these guys do not play up to that level.
On top of this, the Raiders own the #1 overall pick, and fans are aching for Mendoza, heaping all their years of misery into this savior. The desperation has only amplified the halo effect, allowing them to ignore all the uncertainty and unknowns.
There is a lot of Matt Ryan when Matt Ryan was coming out of Boston College. How you watch it. The words that show up over and over again in my notes: tough, accurate, poised, clutch. He's athletic enough. He can get out and make some plays if he has to.
I think that's a totally fair comment. And for the record, Mendoza's a very good college quarterback, but we've seen plenty of great ones not make the leap to the NFL.
I watched Mendoza there, and Mendoza looks like something I've seen very many times, which is a very good college quarterback. That is not that. I know what the #1 pick in the draft looked like. That ain't it.
Ultimately, if Mendoza were to come out next year in a loaded QB class, no one would be saying he's a generational QB. Everyone just wants it to work out this year because he's the only QB that could be taken at the top of the draft, and they love the guy. They said similar things about Bryce Young because he was so likable and came from Alabama as a winner, won the Heisman, but they ignored his height disadvantage. They made excuses. Now, obviously, Mendoza's different. He's 6'5", has the measurables, and looks the part.
The one thing that NFL coaches are going to love, and especially Tom Brady when they take him at #1, is his eyes are never in the wrong spot. So he never gets confused. He's extremely smart. And I'm talking to some of these Indiana coaches, and they're like, you're exactly right on that. He just knows exactly where to look versus pressure. He's a real cerebral type quarterback. I think he progresses really well. He sees it really well. And mechanically, he's really solid.
That's also fair. In Cignetti's offense, he was coached perfectly on it and obviously executed it well, helped him win the Heisman. But the NFL, as we all know, is a different animal. And that's the giant unknown. At the end of the day, anyone who insists he's the best QB prospect since Andrew Luck is flat out wrong. Actually, it's factually incorrect because at the beginning of this past college football season, he was barely a first rounder, which is fine. Everyone's allowed to improve. That's okay. But rewriting history is not. The only ones that were Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, and then Arch Manning for next year. For Mendoza, all I'm saying is we just don't know yet. People want to embellish things, that he's some can't-miss prospect, but it's such an unusual path, and a lot of those 50-50 outcomes went his way, like wins over Iowa, Penn State, Ohio State, and even Miami to win the title. He definitely made some great plays. That's inarguable. But he's got a lot of game manager in him as well. Regardless, too many people are just flat out exaggerating his skills because A, he's going to go #1. There are no other QBs at the top of the draft. But #2, the halo effect. We want him to be great.